Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Lori, and the video today that I'm going to do is going to be about Lemuria and why so many of us are waking up to it. What does it mean? Why are we remembering so intensely? What is the emotion around it? What is this internal pull towards it? What is it? Why? And it's so hugely important, the power of Lemuria right now for all of us. So Lemuria was a continent that existed on the Earth plane from about 1.5 million years ago to about 15,000 years ago. It sunk. And it one of the reasons that it sunk is that the humans that were living on Lemuria, there were all different types of quote unquote human beings. Many different forms of human beings, and all at a much higher frequency and vibration than we are right now. They vibrated between the 5th and 7th dimensional frequencies, depending upon what they came into as spirit to experience. They were highly evolved. They were completely aligned with their higher selves and I am presence and their star families and where they came from. They had these really powerful gifts. Okay, so they worked within the quantum field. They understood energy. They understood how the universe worked. They came in with their eyes open, really connected to all of it. They spoke with telepathy a lot of times. Every single living being was respected and seen as an equal, as one. So there was this really beautiful, powerful oneness that was within this continent. And what ended up happening was the Earth, as well as the humans that were on the Earth plane, not just on Lemuria, but also on Atlantis, began to fall into lower dimensional frequencies. And perhaps it was part of the plan. I'm not exactly sure if it was part of the big plan for the Earth and humanity to shift into lower frequencies of vibration, what they call the fall from grace. But it happened. And when that happened, the continent of Lemuria sunk into the ocean. And so what is happening now is that the Earth and humanity is bringing itself back into that exact same frequency. So we are literally kind of going back into time, so to speak, and we are moving back into how Earth and humanity was in the beginning. So when Earth was created, this beautiful being of light was created, it was created in a much higher frequency than it is right now. So it is literally moving back into that frequency. When humans first came down, or I should say spirits came down into human form, they were at a much higher frequency. And that is what we as human beings are moving back into, is where we used to be, how we used to be. So for many human beings on the planet right now that are waking up, they are remembering that they used to live on Lemuria. And the part of the remembrance and the importance of remembering this is because they are waking up to their multidimensional selves. They are remembering that they used to be highly evolved, completely aligned beings of light, living on the physical earth plane in a physical form. And the reason why this is so important is because, first of all, it's within, if you lived on Lemuria and you were waking up to this, it's inside your cells. Okay, it's inside your DNA. That lifetime or lifetimes that you lived on Lemuria is held and stored within your DNA and your cells. And as the light comes in and the frequency starts to raise, kind of speed up, vibrate faster, you are remembering, the cells are remembering, activating, spinning, waking up to who you were. The gifts that you held on Lemuria will literally start to awaken within you, and you will start to do on this planet right now in your physical form. It's already happening to a lot of people. and it will continue to happen. So one of the important reasons why people are waking up to their Lemurian lifetimes is because what you are meant to do in this lifetime, your purpose work, is what you did on Lemuria and the gifts that you had on Lemuria. And so you are literally, as light workers, going to be assisting humanity, kind of walking them back into this world, into this life that you lived thousands and thousands of years ago. As you remember, you will have more confidence in this other world that you lived in. And you will remember, oh my God, I used to live in this fifth dimensional frequency. I used to walk around on the earth plane in this fifth dimensional frequency. I used to have telepathy with other beings. I used to have my higher self completely embodied within me and completely aligned with my I am presence and my star family. I used to work with my star family all the time, bringing me more gifts, teaching me more stuff about the universes, consciousness, energy, technology, all of that. I used to do that. That's what you're going to start to say. That's what you're going to start to remember. And that is why the city of Telos inside Mount Shasta, it has been holding this frequency. They've been holding the frequency of this fifth dimension. They've been holding the Lemurian consciousness for humanity, for the earth. We are literally walking back to where we once were. And so you're remembering, oh my God, I used to live as a fifth dimensional being on this planet. I used to understand light language. I used to hold crystals and heal people through the energy of these crystals and their physical form. I used to work in this quantum field where I could pull energy or pieces of information out of nothingness, right? And design whatever it was, build whatever it was. So that's where we're shifting into. And here are the different types of volunteers. So when you came down, if you lived on Lemuria and you volunteered, here's what happened for many of you. So there's different volunteers and there's different ways that you came in. So for a lot of you, from your system of light or directly from source, you wanted to experience this reality, the fifth dimensional reality that was fifth to seventh. It's kind of like in that realm. Certain individuals, I shouldn't say individuals, certain beings were in a higher frequency, sixth and seventh, and certain beings were around the fifth. But regardless, as a being of light, from whatever system of light you came from, star system, whether it was Palladian, Sirian, Arcturian, Alpha Centauri, Lyra, whatever it was, you came in as a spirit into a physical form, which is a fifth dimensional physical form. In the fifth dimension, you still have a body, by the way. There's still a body in a form. It's just much lighter, not as dense. And so you came in to experience this reality. What does it feel like as a light to be in a physical form? What does it feel like for light to be captive, kind of held in a dense system, right? What does it feel like to experience all this duality? What does it feel like to experience pain? And you have to understand that on Lemuria, beings had experiences that created all different types of emotions, but it wasn't looked at as bad or good or pro, con, light, dark. It just all was. It just was all one. And so there was no judgment about any experience that might have been felt or experienced. And so when you decided as a spirit to come in, you wanted to just experience these dualities, these things that were happening. And so you came into the physical form on Lemuria, or maybe it was Atlantis, and you lived. And most of you loved it, thrived. It was a beautiful, peaceful consciousness. It was euphoria. It was amazing. And then what happened was there was a realization that everything was shifting and changing and that the continent was going to sink. And that's when you became a volunteer. So if you're a light worker and a volunteer, and you know that you are, and you came from Lemuria, understand that when you first came down onto Lemuria, you didn't come down as a volunteer. You came down to experience this whole sort of system. and you became a volunteer when the continent was going to sink. And so what the Lemurians had choices at that time. The choices were go back to your, leave the, sync with the continent and go back to your system of light, or go back to source, or go back to some other system. Remember, as a spirit, you have free will. You can do anything you want. So you could choose that. You could choose to volunteer. So there was an understanding that the earth was going down into this denser space, this denser frequency, third dimension, and it was going to eventually move back up. It was going to shift and ascend back into this higher frequency. And that there was going to, there were going to be humans that needed to assist and help the earth through this. And so as Lemurians, you one of the things you could have done is choose to participate in this, be a volunteer. And not quite understanding how many lifetimes you were going to have to live, not quite understanding the intensity and the density of it, many of you volunteered. And knowing that when you were going to finally wake up, when it was the last lifetime where you were going to wake up, you would be activating the gifts within you that you held within Lemuria, so that you can hold down this higher frequency of vibration as the humanity and planet shifted. So that's what's happening to a lot of you. You are recognizing that you volunteered from Lemuria as a Lemurian to assist humanity in this shift. So you're a Lemurian, although you're not a Lemurian because you came from a system of light. And you're not even that system of light because you originally came from source. But most recently on the planet, you're a Lemurian. And so you're waking up to that and remembering that. And oh my God, I came here to do something big as a Lemurian. I chose to sync. I chose to live these really dense lifetimes over and over again so that I could be here right now and access the gifts that are within me as a Lemurian. They're inside of you. Every single one of you that came from Lemuria and volunteered to be here on this planet right now in this exact lifetime have the gifts already inside of you. They're being activated. All of you. Every single one of you. So there's that option. And then there's the other option of just syncing with the continent and just being a participant in the whole process of moving back up. Believe it or not, there are many Lemurians that didn't choose to volunteer, that didn't choose to go up, but chose to just participate in the experience. So you have to understand that when you chose this, you didn't chose it, you chose it as spirit. So there is no right or wrong, and there is no good or bad in the choices. It's all an experience, right? So when we came from source to experience ourselves, so basically we are source, right? And when source wanted to experience itself, it created consciousness, and then we are aspects of that consciousness, right? To experience ourselves. So the source is experiencing itself. It's all experience. That's all it is. There's no right or wrong to any of it. And so when you knew this continent was sinking, as that spirit, you made a choice of what you wanted to experience. So you could have gone back to a system of light, source, somewhere else. You could have sunk with the continent, volunteered to assist humanity back into this higher frequency. Or you could have just sunk with the continent and participated in this journey. Seems a bit torturous, but there are many of you that have done that. But if you're listening to this video, you're a light worker. If you're listening to this video, you and you're called to Lemuria, you feel really, really connected to Lemuria, you're most likely a volunteer from Lemuria. Also understand, though, that a lot of individuals that are called to Lemuria might also not have had lifetimes on Lemuria, but might have come from a system of light that just remembers Lemuria, remembers kind of like the beginning of Earth and what Earth was like. And so there's that kind of call to Lemuria and connection to it. And you might not have ever actually lived on Lemuria. But as a being of light, as a star being, you remember Lemuria, and you remember a lot of your family going down into Lemuria and experiencing Lemuria. So there's a lot of different ways and roles that Lemuria has for all of us right now, and what it's activating. But I'm specifically creating this video right now and sharing this information for all of you that are volunteers from Lemuria and that are waking up to your gifts. There's a bunch of you out there, and you're starting to collect kind of together. And what a gift you have all been. What a gift you're continuing to be. And it has not been easy. So the Lemurian volunteer is had to really go through a lot of trauma and a lot of pain. You had to leave. You made a choice to, first of all, you made a choice to come onto the third dimensional plane for a very long time. So you've lived many, many lifetimes from 15,000 years ago to now. Think of how many lifetimes you must have lived. So that alone is pretty painful. And then to have lived on Lemuria, to have experienced that beautiful, beautiful world, that beautiful love, and to have this yearning to go back every single lifetime, this yearning to go back to it, this yearning to go back to it, this yearning, this knowingness that what you have been experiencing in all these lifetimes can be different. You've experienced it differently. It's like you're looking out into your world and you're like, no, I've experienced this in a different frequency. I know it's different. I know that it's different. Because you've experienced it differently. You experienced it in a fifth dimensional body. You experienced it in that oneness. You experienced it in that beauty, in that love. You experienced that. You had all these powerful gifts. And so you're remembering that and you're waking up to that. And all of you are starting to activate these gifts. So just remember that the gifts are inside of you. Okay, the gifts are being activated within each and every one of you if you are a volunteer from Lemuria. And they will start to come up. They will start to be shown to you. It's impossible for them not to. So just trust that. Just know that. And start to really recognize who you are. Start to really recognize that you lived on Lemuria as a beautiful fifth dimensional being of light. And that you're in this dense, dense world because you chose. You chose to be here right now to volunteer. To hold this Lemurian frequency inside your physical form. And to wake up to that fifth dimensional frequency so that you can start to guide people back to where you know you've already been. The earth has already been there, right? So you're just waking up to that and remembering it. And the more you can hold that in your consciousness as who you are and your knowingness, the easier it will be, right? So just constantly trying to remind yourself that you've lived here in a fifth dimensional frequency, in a fifth dimensional body with these powerful gifts. And you're just remembering. You're just reactivating them all within you. And there's nothing special about it. There's nothing unique about you or any other Lemurian that's on the planet right now remembering. It's just the path you chose. And there's many Atlanteans that are doing the exact same thing, right? And there's many star beings that came directly from their star system onto this dense planet that are doing the exact same thing. It's just the unique path that your spirit took. So I was trying to keep this video short. It's already 18 minutes. I don't know. I can just talk and talk and talk. So anyways, I hope this was useful for all of you Lemurians out there that are remembering who you are and waking up to it. And hopefully this resonated with you in some way, shape, or form. And that if you are a Lemurian waking up as a volunteer, remembering who you are, just remember, keep it in your consciousness that you chose. You chose to sync. You chose to volunteer. And you are holding that fifth dimensional Lemurian frequency within your physical body, emotional body, mental body, and etheric body. And that you will hold it and carry it and assist humanity in whatever way your gifts are going to show you. They will unfold and unravel for you. But they are the exact same gifts you had when you were on Lemuria. Exactly identical. They are. They are who you are. You're going to be walking on this earth plane, in this dimension, doing the things that you did on Lemuria as humanity shifts into higher frequencies. So it's a beautiful thing. And thank you. Thank you for volunteering. Thank you for going through all of these really challenging lifetimes to be here right now to assist humanity and this earth. Walking us all back to this fifth dimensional frequency. This way of living that we've lived before, that you've lived before. So thank you. That is it. Leave me any comments below. I love you all very much. Hopefully this was helpful for all you beautiful Lemurian volunteers out there that are remembering and waking up to who you are. And keep going. We're almost done. Well, some of us, not all of us. But we're getting there. All right, my loves, I love you all very much. Take care. See you next time.